In addition to the regular weekly races that take place at Cedar Lake each year, you're also known for having a large number of special events throughout the year, and it all kicks off the season in April with the legendary opener.
Yep.
And that's a 3-day show.
Yep.
Similar to the end of the year.
Yep. It'll be in April. So it's April and the September show are going to be pretty much alike. The big difference is this year is that we're going to have full programs on each day. But the very first night is going to be limited to like the pure stocks, the street stocks, the Hornets, the traditionals, and the wings. They're going to run on night one and run a complete show for their legendary opener as well as the legendary 100 at the end of the year. And then nights 2 and 3 are going to be all the other classes that we have: the USRA limited late models, the Midwest mods, the pro stocks, modifieds, and late models. So they're going to run full program on nights 2 and 3. And the only difference between the opener and the legendary 100 at the end of the year is that at the end of the year, the legendary 100 is going to be getting a big boost from our good friend Mr. Capella from up north. He's going to come down and help us out with the late model purse. We're going to pay $10,000 to win for the late models. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Was the intent of switching the format up to make the program shorter or tighten things up, or to not have to deal with 300 cars every night, or
a little bit of
things?
Almost everything like you mentioned? Yeah, because it's awfully tight to get a show in, and you always want to try to get the show in no matter what, or at least we try to. Chuck has always been my business partner. Chuck is always saying we always try to get the shows in no matter what, unless it's really just unbelievably cloudy and rainy and whatever else, or snowy and whatever. But
I know last year Thursday night I believe was done by 10.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
I would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah,
and I never would have imagined that many cars could get done.
Yeah. It was like the stars were all aligned perfectly, and we came out there smelling like a rose that night, and the rest of the weekend we didn't do it. but yeah. So I mean, it's just something that we have kind of been focusing on and try to. I know that a lot of people might be disappointed by that news because they don't get to race all 3 days, and we understand that. Yeah. We actually think that for the racing from what we're seeing from a fan perspective, as well as our sponsors listening to them, as well as the racers, is that and whether you like it or not, we're trying to actually still build a great business model, and this is something that we think is working. It has worked for us in the past. And it may, we might learn that it might not work. So just trying a little something different. But to your point, though, let's get done a little bit earlier. Let's not worry about 300 cars. Let's not worry about having to cut laps. Let's just try to get everything in and enjoy a great weekend. So.
Okay. And then following the legendary is the infamous bus race, which just amazes me every year at how big the crowd is.
Yeah.
And you've actually got real racing going on during the bus races too. You can watch, I think it's Midwest mods.
Yep.
And is it traditionals?
No, it's not traditionals. I think it's just the Midwest mods, I believe.
Or something.
Well, anyway. But yeah, the school bus race is it is by bar none the single biggest day of our event, or of our schedule in the year. And it already started. I mean, that started this past fall where Chris, myself, Brian, and Steve Connors, we all went and I bought a bunch of buses already, and we buy them in the fall. I know it sounds kind of silly, but we buy them in the fall.
When I went up to look at the new buildings you talked about earlier, and I was up there in December, and I saw the buses parked there, and I'm like, well, I didn't think they got the buses already. I thought they got them a couple weeks before the race.
No,
they're all there, and they look really nice right now.
I know, they look like they could still. Well, they were just literally taken out the streets not that long ago from delivering kids to school, but. We do buy them. We have an agreement with a local company, or a bunch of companies actually, if we can buy them. And then, the reason we do them in the fall is because I just don't want to be dealing with them come March. Because believe it or not, it's now mid-January. I do not want to be starting to get worried if I can find enough buses. Yeah. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is also we try to keep all the buses the same as much as we can. There might be one or two.
Kind of like an IROC bus race.
Yeah, there you go. We buy the buses right then, and then we store them all winter long. And come March, when I decide we can actually start getting the buses to the schools, we'll start delivering them as soon as possible. So it gives the kids from all these schools, from the local areas, enough time to work on them. And I tell you what, they're already calling me probably in the next couple of weeks. When are we going to get our bus? When are we going to get our bus? Which one can we get? And it's like, jeepers. So it's fun. It's a good time.
Cool. It is a big event. Next one after that is the free night, which is always,
Yep.
I know tracks have done that on and off over the years, but Cedar Lake's kind of kept that always Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yeah.
Is when you do the free weekend.
Yep.
That's been
Yep.
going on for, I don't know, 10 years or more.
Oh, I bet you maybe even close to 20 now. It was something that Memorial Day weekend is a tough weekend, just like Labor Day weekend. We don't race on Labor Day weekend, of course, but a lot of tracks do. It's like the last weekend of the summer to enjoy the lake, so people, if they have a cabin, like to do that. But on Memorial Day weekend, a lot of people are still not quite ready and, to go to the lake, and hey, the lake's kind of cold still at that time. So we do race on that night, and but one of the things we also do is we offer it for free. And we try to get more people involved in the racing. People, they always come out to the races and they've never been there, or things of that nature. Or they say, hey, I always want to go there, but I really can't afford to spend that kind of money on myself and my wife and my kids and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, okay, one of the nicest things that I think that we can do for our neighbors that may or may not be able to afford a race is just to say, hey, come on out and just see it. And maybe we'll, grab somebody's attention and see if they can come back again. So.
If you get one new race fan, it's probably worth it.
It is. It is. It is.
All right, and then along those lines, the next big event is the kids' night, where I think a lot of people bring bikes and stuff like that for giveaways.
Yep. Katie Heinbuck and Ashley and Shelly Nutsman and a bunch of other people. A lot of the racers too. They all just contribute so much of their time and effort to getting some local donations from area businesses, or whether the drivers want to donate. There's been a lot of great feedback just getting kids to the races. And so with that being said, the amount of support, we'll have probably close to 100 bikes or scooters and other stuff that we're giving away, and it's just nonstop reading off all these winning ticket numbers all night long, and we're giving away stuff left and right, seems like. So it's a really good event, and of course kids get in for free that night.
And is that the night too where you bring all the cars out on the track during intermission?
Yes, that's a great point too. So great memory on that. I forgot all about that, but during the middle of the show, once we get done with all the heat races and our B mains or whatever, I think if we have a B main, we'll bring all those cars out as much as possible. We'll line them up by their class and we take it probably is about a 45-minute break.
Yeah.
And the kids and the adults get a big charge of it too. They get to go down the racetrack and see the cars and meet the drivers. And the drivers are really cool because they also, not only do they bring like their hero cards, but they'll also bring candy and a bunch of other stuff. And they sit down and talk, and it gives a chance for the kids to walk up and ask questions and just say hi.
So one of the things I like about that night, it reminds me of just recently Tim Johnson, who was a race director at a couple of racetracks. He called me and was just asking, do you just still think there's 8-year-old kids out there like we were back in the 70s that were just their week revolved around going to the races?
Right.
And I think things like the kids' night will get more of those 8-year-old kids like, hey, this is cool, and bug their dad to come back out the next week. So like to see stuff like that.
Yep.
After the kids' night is the Masters, which is
Last year sucked.
It's gone through some evolutions through the years, but I think now it's a really good format with the divisions that you have.
Yeah, and the reason why I said last year sucked was because we had rain every single day last year. It was like I was not living right. Let's put it that way. In the month of May last year, or June, excuse me. But no. So long story short, with that is that we have we've been working with the USMTS for years. We have. Obviously, we're a late model track, and we have a great local late model conglomerate of drivers in the upper Midwest area, whether you be from North or South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, you name it. A lot of guys will come up for that event, and also the USRA late models also participate in that event. So 3 days of that, and they're complete shows every night, and every night we pay out a complete show. So that's been an awesome event for us.
USMTS is a national touring series,
Yep.
and the caliber of late model drivers that are from this area is probably second to none in the nation. So
Correct.
It's a great show. After that starts out July with the annual World of Outlaws Sprint Show, and
Actually, that's in June.
That's the Woo
That's
Sprints are
a
in June.
26th or
Week before
27th.
the 4th or something. this year?
Yeah, it's right before that. It's like, this is the weird year. I think this is the last year, I believe. Now, I could be wrong, but this is the year where like the leap year kind of screws with everybody's dates. So until so-and-so moves a date and they all push back, I think this next year is the next year we'll do this in 27. But for 26, it's still, we're predominantly always the first weekend in July, it seems like, with the World of Outlaws sprint cars. But yeah, this year is still going to be in June.
I'm really enjoying that it's a weekend show after all them years of a Monday night.
Oh my
race.
gosh, yeah.
So
Working with
that's
Robert
been
Lawton,
great.
yeah. Yeah, that was a tough Tuesday morning to go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that is the now famous month of money for
Yes.
the weekly divisions, where they get a little extra money on
Yeah.
each division spotlighted on a specific night.
Yeah, so I think on the 11th of July, we don't race on the 4th of July, by the way. That weekend we take off. But then the weekend of 11th, I think, of July and the 18th, we call that the month of money. The first weekend, I think, is the Pro Stocks and the A Mods. And Pro Stocks are brought to us by, I'll plug them, Matco Tools by John Olson. And he stepped up and said, you know what, we used to run for $5,000 to win. We actually backed off on that a little bit and said, well, we don't want to pay that much. But he said, I really do. So he stepped up and said, okay, let's make it a $5,000 to win event. And so I give him big kudos to that. With that being said, then other sponsors did the same thing that John did. So Justice Brothers out of Eden Prairie, also for the modifieds, they're helping us out on that night. And then the following weekend on the 18th, so both those classes are running for $5,000 to win. And then the following weekend then is the Mater Memorial. They're running for $10,555 to win, and then the USRA late models are also running that night for some extra money. So that's on the 18th, and that's where we kind of stop with our month of money. We moved the Midwest Mods, like I said, into September. We kind of flip-flopped that back with the Jerry Richard Memorial. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
So in that, we did get some major push from sponsors as well, and they're going to pay $10,000 to win on that show. So
Okay.
big money coming towards our racers this year.
So yeah, you mentioned the month of money. The Midwest Mods will be moved to September, but the Richard Memorial will take place in July this year. Which is
Correct.
a big move, but should have a lot nicer weather. And
Yeah, I hope so. It seems like it's a good fit. I think because it's about a month away from the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars being here, and then the following weekend is a big late model show with the USA National. So it's a great spot, I think, for the sprint cars on that weekend. So hopefully everybody takes note of that. Like I said, it's July 25th, Saturday. It's a big change from September, now to the end of July. But like I said, like you were saying, is that hopefully with the weather, it should make it a really good. Hopefully it'll make it a great show.
All right, and then after that is the USA Nationals, which
Yep.
is probably your second biggest attended show
It
behind
is-
the bus race.
Yeah, it's the craziest weekend. It's the craziest 3 days. Let's put it that way. With the amount of campers and everything like that, it's just the demand and just the following, and we're always trying to think of new things every year. What do we do to make it more entertaining? What do we do for making it? It's what we consider truly. It's an event.
Yeah.
It's not a race anymore. It's more of an event. You go to Eldora, you go to Knoxville, you go to all these other tracks. I do not compare myself to them, but I would say that this is an event where you cannot miss it.
Yeah.
It's 3 days. I mean, I'm lucky to get the stupid grass mowed the week before because people are already camping 10 days prior to the event. So I'm driving the tractors around and just.
Well, I was
hit 'em.
amazed, several years ago when you acquired the land across the street and
Yeah.
turned that into overflow camping, how quickly that has filled up. Because I
It was supposed to be just parking.
rolled a golf cart over there last year, and it was darn near full
I
on
know.
Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
And one of my friends who normally goes to the sprint car race, he went to the USA Nationals. He had like a lakefront camping site there because there's a little pond over there, and his
Yeah.
camper was right up. He had lakefront property.
Yeah, that's right. I should charge them more.
So then coming. So after USA Nationals, I think, do you have a weekend off again this year after the USA Nationals?
Yeah. Everybody's
Championship night, and then Labor Day weekend, and then you come back with the month of money for the Midwest Mods for $10,000 to win for them guys.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Yep.
And then it all wraps up special events with the legendary 100.
Yep. And as we talked about earlier, it's the exact same format as our opener, where we have, again, not to sound redundant, but I will, pure stocks, street stocks, Hornets, traditionals, and wings will be on night one, running a complete show. And then the other classes, the USRA limited late models, the Midwest modifieds, pro stocks, A mods, and then late models are running complete shows each night on Friday and Saturday in the middle of September, with the late models running for $10,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to mention?
On a schedule? No.
Or just in general?
Oh, I don't know.
Nice swag, by the way.
Yeah, you like this? Yeah, I designed this myself. Yeah, I stole the colors and maybe something else from somebody else, but yeah. So yeah, no, I think in regards to our schedule, I think we're pretty solid. I think we're we have we got it out there really early this year. It's I was surprised how early it was done. It was literally since we got done with our racing season. I think it was almost done within a month. It was that fast. So, and people were kind of questioning why we were out so fast. We're like, well, we just want to be done, and
Yeah.
people get planning. So cool. Yeah.